Okay, guys, I want to make a quick point. Yeah, it's this Chad who's put this up. Oh yeah, it is. It's Chad. Oh, he's smart. Pertaining to Com's post. This is one of Chad's friends. I've had a discussion with Chad. We have a conflict just over whether we kill. Basically, do we kill? Well, I really can't say the Lord has specifically told me either way, but I can tell you that the Bible has changed and they have altered it in John to say Jesus killed. Yeah. So he commanded his disciples to bring the unbelievers before him so that he could slay them. And in another freak comment that I saw about that Bible change, a man who was French or something said that in their translation it says not that he can slay them, but he can behead them. So it's a suspect that Jesus might say that in this new Bible that the false church is going to use, an adulterous generation. But I just keep thinking about the scripture. Those who live by the sword will die by the sword, of course. But the one that, the one where the commander of the faith, the one Saul, yeah, when he fell off his horse and he was the biggest persecutor of Christians ever. I think about that and I think, well, I don't really want to end up before the judgment seat and know that I actually killed someone who, well, the Lord would have known it was going to happen, but took someone out that was going to play an important role in the end times, because we don't know who they are. We don't know who the harvest is. Anyway, this is the man. We'll just play a little bit. I've listened to the whole thing. Sorry, we've got video ads.
Bluetooth tracing is 100% anonymous.
This is our
it's
New
secure
Zealand
and
one.
Doesn't share or store personal information.
Hits the fan. It's going to be very important that you have your unidirectional, quasi-dimensional NG47 Alpha
So he's
Tango
got 5 scenarios. Why?
radios. All right, Pete.
Last
you got
one.
the bag of rice? Nope. Shit. Hey, Ben. Do you have Uncle Ben's rice? Nope. I didn't buy any of that. I bought ammo. Okay. Hey, Julie. You got the you got the cheeseburgers? No, I got silver. I got silver and really fancy folding knives. Well, shit. Everyone's like preparing to go jumping in circles, doing backflips like on that Nintendo game Contra, fighting the aliens, shooting from the hip with the spread gun or whatever, right? From the Nintendo game. That's what we're gearing for. But everyone forgets that, like, maybe you're going to wake up that morning before you put on your Contra gear and grab your spread cannon to go jump over the flaming bridge and shoot aliens in the face, right? Space aliens. But, like, when you wake up that morning to do all those cool things, you're going to realize, man, I wish I had a freaking glass of water. I'm thirsty. Like, my brain ain't firing on all 8 cylinders since the water went out 2 days ago. In fact, am I even standing in this room? You're not even going to know where you're at because you didn't have a damn drink of water. Your furnace went out. It's October in the north. You froze. Your feet are frozen. They're turning blue because you didn't have a heating alternative. You didn't have a propane heater or some kind of backup or a wood stove that was working, or you had a wood stove, but you didn't have any damn wood cut, right? Or like, all right, guys, like we got all our, let's say you have all that stuff even. This is before you need the radio, right? You got your food, you got your water, you got your wood burning stove. Let's say you need to fight somebody. Oh shit, I never dug a hole anywhere around my property. You're just standing out in the open. You didn't dig any fighting positions. You just stand out there like, shit, I don't know what to hide behind. I could hide behind this Honda Civic, but that's really not going to help a lot. And you're going to get smoked before you can call for backup from your buddies. So like people get attached to these highly technical purchases, which are cool, but like you need to have all the other stuff covered first, man. Because if it ain't covered, they're gonna be covering you with dirt before you ever get to press your buttons. It's just the way it works. And that stuff will straighten itself out in the first week or two. And then there's not gonna be a lot of dudes running around out there. Most of the guys that would consider themselves to be prepared for the SHTF situation are gonna die of thirst in day 3. And then they'll be eating their dogs and cats by day 5 if they could find water in the creek and dodge the sniper fire on the way to the creek, or to go out on the roof and like try to adjust their gutters to go into a bucket so they could, and praying, doing the rain dance, hoping for rain, right? People are going to get taken out way before any like buddy has a chance to like do a barrel roll under some tank with a radio, be like, all right, set off the daisy chain on the bridge, boom, 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 and then like you get to do whatever, right? That stuff you're not gonna get that far. I'm just pretty sure about it.
Yeah, I think he's right. Now, I'm not a smart man, but I had a conversation on the glory chair with the Lord about that, about 52 Reservoir Road, which is where I live. I'm not stupid. But he said I was sitting pretty. So I walk by faith, I walk by what I've been shown. I'm going to share 2 dreams again, and then I want to testify about this adulterous generation. Hopefully I have room. Now I come to a domain. It looks like the war's going down because it's empty. Apart from on my left, it's a big rectangle, on my left is an abandoned stone building, has no roof. It may have had it's like a straw roof once upon a time. It's probably one of the only things still standing. It's just the walls, and inside there are the church, the false church, and they're all ammoed up and they're all huddled in corners, and I approach them. There's 2 of us there, the other person's not with me, but we're both wondering about weapons. They won't give us a weapon, but they have a literal weapon. And there's no one looking out, they're just huddled in this far left corner. I walk away and say, well, your weapons are useless anyway, which is true. And I'm walking up this well-worn path on this grassy domain, and a camper, the last camper, leaves. They don't even look. They are fixated on the road, trying to get out as quick as they can. I just carry on walking. I look to the centre of the domain and I see there's a bushel. You know, like the one that you can hide your light under. It's not very much cover. Then I look to my left and out pops an elevator, like a portal from the pit. The door opens. I'm in a position to actually go in, like I pressed the button myself. Out come all the black snipers, all clad with their lights and machine guns and things, and they don't see me. They come out. There might be 2 or 3 in the middle. Off they go in different directions, like they must be walking through me. One's to the left, one's to the right. They head towards that building, and nobody in that building would be aware. They were not watching, and they don't know where the enemy's coming. I just happened to be walking in the spirit, so I saw it pop up. That's how it works. And I was invisible. That's how it works. That's what sitting pretty is. That's the assurance you have from the Lord. Now the other one is the native bush here. It's 2 hills, like the hills I've taken videos of. And one of those hills, now I don't want to pry into Billy's anything. It's just that I've sent him these pictures and they're in order. That's the only reason why I'm going to do it. So anyway, just give you something to look at. Where are we? Before I get to it. Silence of the Lambs. These are just things that I link to people who care very little for what I say, probably, but
So,
anyway,
Billy
we don't
Horsey
want to look at that one.
put up a great post on Facebook about black sheep, and I found it really interesting when Click said that. Really interesting.
Oh, why did I do that? Now I've lost track. Here we go. We want to show you these pictures. We'll start with this one. Okay, it's just something to look at when I'm talking. This is my testimony. This is my song, and I'll be singing it all day long. So am I on? Yes, I am. I see in the bush, dense bush, it's New Zealand native bush, a group of people like hiding from the communists, because the Lord's already shown me a communist invasion. January 6th or 9th, 2018. Communist invasion are the words he used. And everyone's hiding out, but it's like a family unit, you know, there are men, young men and women, I'm sure, trained, and, you know, there's teenagers and children, a group of about, over a dozen, 15 say, and they're all there, and they don't seem to have any shelter or anything, but they seem to be doing all right. And then what waltzes up and comes upon them? Well, these soldiers, they're in khaki uniform. I think they've got berets, actually, sort of type hats, and rifles, and don't know if they were Chinese, I can't remember, I think they were. And they just said, you know, they just pointed with their weapons, come with us. And they took them from one side of the hill to where they could actually see across to the other side of the hill. And they went from being free to being captured. And when they got there, this is where I get to this testimony about the apple, about the bride. There was a young couple that had been fornicating, and they decided that they would have a wedding, because now they were captive. They needed to impress the Lord, because the Lord was their second best option, because they did everything they could in their own strength first and failed. They put on a gown, but there was a problem with the gown. The Lord showed me it was a gypsy gown. Now, I got a friend, they live on the west coast now. They were friends of Marty and mine, and they're a weird couple. We met him at a bike rally, and then his wife Denise. She's quite wicked, very wicked. Anyway, they showed us their wedding photos. And did you remember my last upload? I was talking about the Hobbit. Well, their wedding was a Lord of the Rings theme. Yeah. So she was dressed like a gypsy. And that's what this bride was dressed like. Why do they bother marrying if they don't do it for Christ, before the Lord in faith? Why bother? And what does it mean? How do you keep a vow without the Lord? You don't. That's why there's so many divorces in the false church. Some would say, I've been divorced twice, but I haven't. They have divorced me twice. Well, my husband hasn't yet, but he had an opportunity and said he didn't want me back, so I wasn't going to go back, but literally I want to be his wife, but no, he didn't. So yeah, I've had two so-called believers break their vows. I've never broken my vow, because I make a vow before the Lord. So it's a false church, it's a false wedding, it's the gypsy. Now I want to show you the apple. Now what you need to realise is the Lord has said, I flip it, I flip it, I flip it. I had a vision of a camper, so we're back to the camper again. Now the difference between a camper and the metaphorical picture the Lord gives me of the courier and the caravan is the camper has its built in, it's like a snail, carries its own house. Has its own motor, it has its own driver, it's self-contained, it runs itself, it's a false church. That's what the camper is. You know, the one that on New Year's Eve was outside a building giving a message, a siren that said, warning, warning, like Lost in Space. Do you remember it? And then there was an explosion. Well, that camper is the same thing. Or the camper that hit my car outside Paul's house with the Chinese family in it that said they were run off the road by somebody's lights, where really they just fell asleep, but it was not an accident or a mistake that they hit me and then destroyed 2 4-wheel drives. And that I'd had a dream where I saw all the emergency vehicles, which was at night time. The accident was at 5, it was still daylight, but I came back half an hour later and it was night time. Then the Holy Spirit fell on me and said, this was your dream. I believed that dream to the point where I went to Paul's house and I gave him a fire extinguisher because I thought he was going to have a fire because I could see all the sirens and lights. But in fact, it was an accident and it was a camper. Chinese family got off a plane on the other side of the island on the east, come over after all the jet lag, no sleep, 48 hours, fell asleep because they don't want to pay for accommodation. They want to make the most of their holiday. And I have a picture of the father and the son in the back of the camper. No accidents or mistakes. And that's how come I had my courier and the panel beaters, and I have more of a testimony of the claw marks on the bonnet, because I had 3 eyewitnesses to claw marks that were there 2 days, weren't there 2 days prior, and my car never moved, and then they appeared 2 days later. So in that window over a weekend, I got what everyone described as bear marks on the bonnet and on the side of my car. Unexplained. What do you think that is? Anyway, the panel beater rang me up and he said, look, do you want me to take out those claw marks? I asked my husband, who's been a painter, who's worked with panel beaters for 40 years, and he couldn't work out how it happened because it was a dent and the paint was still on. Now, the apple. We are the apple of the Father's eyes. That's the scripture. It's still the scripture, but the enemy knows about it. Yes, he does. So think you're going to hide? Fat chance. I was looking at Billy D's posts, and this is a new emoji. It's the apple emoji. What is that? Emoji iconic thread. So I opened it up and I screenshot all the emojis and I broke it down. So let's have a go. It's not very clear, is it? So there's me thinking, circled round the emoji. Now how it starts is there's a picture of someone in a suit. He's an apple. He's at a door. Then he flips backwards and forwards. What's behind his hand? What's behind his back? What's the hidden hand got? You can't quite see it. Look, there we go. Red roses. Nice double stars. Isotoxal stars. 1 on each. I'll try and put this on the thumbnail. Side of the apple. 1, 2. Oh, what did I write here? Forwards and backwards trap. I love a boy with red roses. I did this so quick. I meant with. So here we go. She takes the roses. She takes the roses. Now we can't see it. Isn't it a pain? Here we go. There's our lotus. There's our lotus. Oh, my pet goat. or the one that the Aphrodite or Venus comes out of. The one in the water. Now this one you can see the shadow. Look at her. Overjoyed she is. Nice lotus. She's overjoyed with the roses. And that one says, sleep on, my disciples. That's what the Bible Changes, True Shock TV, has shown. So in the Garden of Gethsemane, what did Jesus say to his disciples when he sat up and was in crippling? It was crippling, it was agonizing for him to know, because it's difficult to know the truth, like what Click does, and bear it. But the Lord said he will not give us any more than we can bear, and that man can bear a lot. I bore some ominous things, but never did I feel the depth of it, for more than a few hours. It's no more than you can bear, okay? It's overwhelming what is to come. But the Lord that we serve bore that for a night and stayed up before he went to the cross. And did he say to his disciples, sleep on, my disciples? Did he tell them to sleep on? No. He rebuked them. He said, you can't even stay awake. So she is asleep. Yeah. See? And look. One eye symbolism. Now what did I write here? Oh yeah, that's right. One eye symbolism. Hard to read, but it says, oh, I should have done it in black. Do not worry, I think. Sleeping Beauty. Your prince. Okay, let's try it this way, because it would be a wee bit easier for me. Let's just go to my gallery. Yeah, might be easier. Here we go, now we can read it. Really good, doing really well here, aren't I? Oh no, and now you're sleeping, Beauty. Don't worry, the final kiss will wake the monster in you too. It's nice, isn't it? You too? They know what they're doing, don't they? You too. There's two of you. Yep. Let's just go straight to this one. So I put it together, but it's a bit tiny. Best to do it this way. So I just teach you in my way first. This is the love boy of the red roses. So here's the apple. See her hands touching it? You know what that does. You know what touching the apple does. You know what happened in the garden, don't you? Looks to me like martial arts. Yep. Just teach you in my way first. The arts. Now I want to just share the first thing, and this is why the roses mean so much. Yes, the apple does, because Clec has brought it up. This is the first thing that I've ever scribed. It was in 2003 when my husband cast me out, when I selfishly sought the Lord, but he was still good to me. he had done everything he could to let me know what my husband had done, and that I had been hunted. Now the truth is, my husband, when he was my fiance or my boyfriend, I broke off with him because he was willing to take me to services but not to go. Yet he had committed his life to the Lord, and he just sort of changed his mind, was backslid. But I learnt soon enough not to be unequally yoked, so I broke the engagement off, or whatever the dating off. And about 2 months later, he turned up with roses. Now, I always wondered why this poem I scribed was about red roses, because the roses he bought me were an apricot pink. That's why most of these look a bit dark, but they're an apricot. So here's the poem, and you've heard it before. It's just short. I woke up, got the poem, and at the same time the revelation that he had been in adultery. I've written it again. I wrote it again probably about 8 years later in my book, nice and tidy. Adultery. It has a deep, dark ocean and a lost and lonely sea. It has walnuts and wrinkles, an orange hull with a mouldy load. It's a golden bay with a white picket fence, a lover boy with red roses, a joyless day gone past. Selah, rest. Yes, I took the roses, just like that little cartoon, that new emoji that they are releasing just when Click released the Word of God. Now, this is a poem that's on the next page. Most likely, the second thing that I ever scribed. The desire of your heart will save you. That's what I've written. Now, I haven't even reread this, so let's have a wee go. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe I'll turn it this way and we'll try not to. Yeah, no, nothing's really going to work here. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Sort of looks unclear, doesn't it? This is a prayer. This is my heart. This is why, thank the Lord, I have been taken like a firebrand from the fire. And at this stage, I've had a lot of relief. I've been through the Job, and now I'm more like Joshua, where when Satan petitioned the Lord to try Joshua, he said, leave him alone. He's like a firebrand plucked from the fire. My Lord turned back the covers. He made way for the waves. His mighty hand was upon me, and I had to agree. A promise and a rainbow in the place of a gift, a delight for the picking, a chance to give. I always think of apples when I think of picking. I did apple picking. Remember, Brian's going to bring me some apples. Is my life surrendered? Lie flat at your throne. May you replace wounding with this newfound home. An orchard, a garden, a job to be done, a place for the making, a wine to be won. My hand has, has a chance. This is joy. My seeking a place. This is the joy. This is the joy. My God, you had mercy, and I'm seeking your face. So I added that. So here we are, my little pictures. There we go. So there's the two poems. I might put them on thumbnails. Poems from Heaven. A heads up. 2002 or 2003. Adulterous generation, a lover boy with red roses. Paper roses, paper roses. Oh, how real those roses seemed to me. But they're only imitations, like your imitation love for me. What a foolish, foolish bride that red bride is, hey? Falling for the wrong man. Falling for the wrong groom. He lied. You know he's a liar. You're going to end up at a red wedding. I'm invited to the white wedding. So here we are. A wee bit hard to see. So what I want to do is take you to the original. Oh, okay, I'll just let you know this is the last page that I broke down. There was only so many pictures. Finally, see? Taught in the arts. Finally it's over. But thing is, you live forever. Yeah, so it's not over. I know life feels like hell, but it's a lot worse there. You live in hell forever. Yeah. So have a look at these original pictures. Be a bit clearer. The arts. Remember? Training in the arts. Let's have a look at training in the arts. Let's see what he taught Sleeping Beauty. Oh, what was that noise? What did the apple teach Sleeping Beauty after she kissed it? Oh. Copy me. I'll make sure both your eyes are down. Blind. Vanity, isn't it? The mask and the cucumbers. The arts. Vanity. Aphrodite. There she goes. She can see everything through those cucumbers. So it's relaxing when you can't see the end of time. And I love the end. But let's just have a wee look at what she's learning. A is for apple. A is for alchemy. The power of the end of the age. Not that powerful, really. And this is a beautiful scene where you walk off into the sunrise, which comes from the west, you know, like the New York sunrise, the one she's waiting for. From the west to the east, it's Barack Obama. Isn't he handsome? You know he's the ugly, don't you? You know, that reminds me of The View when Satan has the date with the bug, isn't it? So anyway, that's the message. We'll just leave it at that. I've got so much that I sent just as a record to keep it. So I really want you to follow the next one. And it's chats. It's on marks. This is the last. Oop. Oh yeah, just the last thing. This is actually for him to read, but it's relevant because it's how I started it. This is just short. It was a message. It's a message to everyone. So I have been in a holding pattern since Christmas, but the Lord showed me outside my bedroom window, because whenever he shows me anything outside the caravan, he showed me Jeremiah on his way, and that was before the Lord showed me in a dream that I fell into the theatre of Jeremiah. I saw the back of a man walking away, and the Lord just said, it's Jeremiah. And then a year later, I know why. But I also saw the Antichrist. You know what he looked like? Brad Pitt. Strange, eh? In work clothes. Anyway, oh, here we go. Now I know why he was in work clothes. Just that things around used in the workplace change. Oh, that's right. I played this one to him. So this is logic before authority. He's showing us his garden. But he had a first person encounter with someone who was Magneto Man. But one of the interesting things was the man used some type of piece of equipment every day since it has, and always prior to his VC, and now this thing that he holds is magnetic. And what concerned me is what happens to the woman you hold, or the man you hold, or the baby you hold, if it can do that to a piece of equipment. If you have made a decision that has jeopardized your entire family and taken the V, when there is others that have made their own personal decision not to. Or you haven't taken it, but someone you love has. Are you going to let them hold you? Are they in your workplace? It's short, this little video I said. It's just that things around used in the workplace change. People, yeah. What would you do with a spouse that had it? Really need Jesus to navigate this. But I still remember seeing Bidden and Bam Bam outside. Why did I put Detroit window? That's my spell check. Outside my caravan window. My greenhouse. I saw them, and the Lord said, don't be concerned about them, right? I mean, they are there. Just be concerned about this, the National Guard. That's very much for America. Okay? And that's the last bit of advice. Other than heads up, because what we're going to see this year is very important. Pay close attention to the shooter events. And there's been some pretty important shooter events. So that's it. And then we're going to go right back. I couldn't stop. The Holy Spirit just kept giving me more and more. This is not personal. This is not Mark. He's saying nothing. It's me. He's allowing me to use his page to file away my pictures. So I've got a backup. And it starts so far back it's not funny. But let me show you where it starts. And I just read Loverboy. And it starts. Oh, wow. Starts with the testimony. Here it is. This is where it starts. I said quite a few days ago to Mark, I said, Mark, look at our rock. So it's this new song, new movie called Raya, the Last Dragon. Look, Mark, it's our rock. See the rock with the hole in it? Remember the fines that they put in front of my view and the Lord flipped it into something beautiful because of the rock that was in the centre, and when the sun hit it one morning. It looked like that, like the stone had been rolled away. It was beautiful, and I showed Mark, and then he showed me some images around California of rocks like that with holes in them, and then I was reminded of a rock in Aramoana